Hello there.
Well, ahoy.
Hello.
Milton, how you feeling?
Yep. No, I actually, believe it or not, I actually feel pretty good.
Man, that's crazy. That's impressive, man.
Yeah, I don't know if impressive is the right word. I don't think anyone's tolerance should be that high. Dummy 100 milligrams and be like, man, I'm okay.
Jeez. I would be annihilated, man. Well, you now have a superpower. And you must decide whether or not you wield it for good or evil now.
Fair enough.
Man, okay. Well, guys, man, it has been a crazy busy week. And are you guys ready for tonight?
You could say that again on about 18 different levels.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
If I at all ever seem distracted, it's because I'm having to deal with the, hey, do you still have room? Or, oh man, I can't make it tomorrow. Sorry, I forgot it's my birthday.
Yeah. My shortest day this week was 11 hours straight.
Oh my God.
That was my shortest. So this week has been completely bonkers.
That's ridiculous.
But I made sure that I had the time I needed to make Mar, and I'm ready, man. I'm ready for you guys.
This is the
Fuck
top
yeah.
priority.
But yeah, that's absolutely true. But the thing is, today's going to be a little bit of heavy lifting on you guys. This is a character creation episode, largely. We're going to do a lot of narrative stuff and a lot of talking stuff, but you guys are going to be, well, listen, I'll just burst your bubble right now. You guys are going to be RPing multiple characters, so get ready for that.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah, so it should be fun. It should be interesting, and I think we can just kind of go ahead and get started if you guys are ready.
Fuck yeah.
Okay,
Getting,
awesome.
I'm currently picking up the playbook that I want for my guy, I think.
Okay, awesome,
Okay.
awesome. Yeah, feel free to, and like we can, if you have a couple that you're thinking of, when it comes time for you to choose, we can go through it. Like, it doesn't have to be an ironclad decision.
I'm just gonna pick the first one right now and just completely shot in the dark. I like the name of it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's gonna fit me perfectly, just based off of what it's called.
Perfect. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I can go ahead and welcome folks to our tabletop RPG stream called Monsters Ain't Real, where we are currently using, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to change that because we're pretty much making the move where we are using the Dungeon World rule set, because we're basically using Dungeon World to enjoy some good old-fashioned RPG fun set in an industrial horror universe.
Whoa.
Boy, oh boy, you guys have no idea what the hell I have planned for you guys. So to anyone new, all the old episodes are up on YouTube, and the podcast is continually being updated and populated. So feel free to check those out if you're new, but you can still just hang out and listen to the episode, even if this is your first one. Have some kick W's and maybe a chuckle or two. And with that, we have probably the briefest recap yet, which is kind of crazy considering what happened, but it's a very, very brief recap. Last time, you guys closed the black hole. You fused together to become Metaneone, where each of you were one aspect of Metaneone. You fought Volos for a very brief period of time. You had something go terribly wrong, and Locke became doomed. And then I introduced what would be the next part of the campaign, you guys would build expendable characters and play them in the red ink. And today, we're going to be building your red ink characters. Oh, you know, they're not red ink right now, but they're going to be going there. We're going to build your characters, and we will get started on the 5th and final arc of Monsters Ain't Real.
Holy shit.
We're actually here. We are about to enter the final arc.
There's a secret one. There's a secret ink.
There's a secret one.
We
gotta play through Prime once we make it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And so before we get started with the episode proper, we can go ahead and do the narrative intro. I will tell you though that today's narrative intro is a little bit different. The camera opens on the concept of choice. And it is abstract, and the visuals that we see cannot be described. So just allow your mind to conjure what visions that it will, and let that be what the camera captures. But it is the concept of choice and the weight that it carries. To choose something is to believe that something else was possible, and that you have manifested reality by applying your consciousness to make a choice. And as simple as this may seem, it is the very power of creation and destruction. At the whim of choice is the ability to destroy an entire universe that could have been. By choosing, not only do you apply your hand to guide fate and force yourself upon the course of the future, but you also hold the measure of an entire path of existence as not worthy, and as such, it never comes to pass. Every choice you have made thus far has created the present you exist in. It has also shaped and limited the possibilities of the future you are to venture into. Every choice you have made thus far has also annihilated a nearly infinite number of other universes that could have existed. The lives that could have lived, the deaths that could have been avoided. Willingly or unwillingly, you have been destroyers of potential worlds that could have been. That is because the big choice, the one you have known you will have to make for a long time now, is virtually all-consuming. There will come a point, should you survive long enough, where you will finally hold the future of everything in your hands. Existence, void, death, life, creation, destruction, happiness, sadness. They will all be yours to do with what you will, but you will only get one choice. You are about to send a group of expendable humans to their almost certain deaths, and while they are away doing what seems impossible, you will have to consider what happens at the end. If they succeed, if you succeed, you will have to choose, and not choosing is a choice. So think honestly about what you will do, because you will have to choose. The time is coming. In fact, the time is near. And with that, we are back. We are in the bar. You had just had a very brief encounter with Volos, who very easily could have killed you when you came out of the chamber, but did not. Instead, he had a snappy one-liner of some sort, and he left.
Idiot.
And you guys are now back in the bar. Time is moving as it should. And the time has come for you to choose your expendables.
Fuck yes.
So the way this works is Lu 2 takes whoever's choosing their expendable into the chamber and asks you which ink you want to look into. And it's kind of annoying because Slump, he takes you in there first.
Okay.
And he asks you, which ink, and you tell him the white ink, right?
Yep.
And it seems like he asks this question so many times. Like, he asks you, you say white ink, he kind of discusses with you the white ink and all the other inks, and he asks you again, and you say the white ink, and he starts talking about the kinds of peoples and things that you should expect and want from this person, and he asks you again, and you say the white ink, and it gets kind of annoying, but you start to get the sense that, like, this is such an important decision. This is such a huge move forwards that he can't take any chances that the decision hasn't been thought through absolutely thoroughly. So while it's annoying, you stick to your answer, the white ink. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So we're going to go through a little bit of who and what this person is. Now, I know you have a very good idea of who this person is, and that's excellent. But we need to build a little bit around this person. We need to know who this person is, and on a couple different levels. So when you finally say the white ink, and Lu 2 finally looks satisfied with this answer, he pulls out a single prime ink coin, and he pushes his thumb against it in the air, and he pushes it through the air, and it leaves that pearlescent streak in the air with the kind of sound of tearing Velcro, and a white portal kind of opens up. But this is not a portal that you've seen before. It seems, the best way to describe it, it's like he's kind of swiping through Google Maps. He can kind of place his hand on the surface of the portal and move it around and zoom out and zoom in. And he starts asking you about the person that you're looking for, trying to, because you Slump. You don't know who you're looking. You don't know the name of the person you're looking for, right? You just know the traits of the person that you want to look for. So why don't you tell me, what would Slump think to himself, and what would Slump be describing to Lu 2 to help him kind of swipe through the Google Maps of the white ink? What are the kinds of descriptive things you would tell him that would let him hone in on this person?
Sure. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, Slump, when he lived as Qualkek, he worked at the mine, did he not?
Yep, that's correct.
So I think Slump, although does Slump have any memories of before the barbecue?
I think they're very disjointed. I think they come in bits and pieces. I don't think that they're all gone.
Sure.
I think that they're difficult to grapple with, and I think Slump often becomes focused on what he's doing and pushes those away. But I think they're there to grasp at if he wants them.
Okay, perfect. Because I think Slump would basically start imagining like the Daniel Plainview type. He'd be thinking of like someone who's going to be the cutthroat businessman who's going to show up and purely out of self-interest or the completion of his task will do like whatever it takes, period. Will not refuse to step on anyone's throat to accomplish his goal. So he would sort of remember back to seeing those types of people come by the mine, prospectors or fellow or competitor businesses, things like that, you know, potential investors, whatever. And he would think back to the really greasy, self-interested ones. And he would sort of use that as his inspiration, I think.
Perfect. 1 sec. It decided to minimize everything on all my monitors for some reason. Okay.
I've done that a few times. I fucking hate it.
I just went to move my notes and it minimized everything. Jeez.
Yeah, it's something like if you like click and accidentally drag for a second onto like the action bar or some shit like that, or the task bar, it just totally minimizes everything.
Got it. Okay. So as you're thinking of this kind of person, the view through the portal kind of changes, and it becomes kind of like a spider web fragment of a bunch of different images. It's no longer looking at one image. It's looking like a tons and tons of different images of different areas of different people, and it's much more narrowed down, but still not quite there yet. So as you're kind of describing this person, why don't you tell me a little bit about what this person does for a living? What this is no longer in Slump's control. This is just now start describing what the portal is doing. And why don't you tell me, what does this person do for a living?
I like to think that the person that Slump would be envisioning would be one that he got the impression was so disenfranchised by like the corporatocracy, like was so displaced by the you know, corporate hell, and the fact that this is a person who is a circle in a square world, and just does not fit into the cubicle lifestyle, and so instead he took to I like to think that he took to doing sort of odd jobs where he could like deliver this parcel, you know, go and rough up this guy who owes me money. But I think over time, this is a person whose sources of income have become less and less, what do you want to call it? Like legal, I guess.
Okay,
This is a person who's really sort of taken to the sort of mostly Robin Hood approach of mostly steal from the rich and give to himself, but it is sometimes just steal from whoever and give to himself. So basically a person who's become disillusioned by the corporatocracy and now makes a living by stealing from the snobs.
Perfect. Okay. So then the portal falls away to only a number of images now. And now we can see a couple people. We actually see the individuals. There's 5 of them here. One of them fades, and now there's only 4. As you keep thinking about it, there's only 3 left now that are visible through this portal. Now, describe to me what this person looks like. I know you described it a bit before, but what is the image in the portal? In fact, why don't you tell me the scene that you actually see through the portal? When you look at this person and Slump sees this person and says, "That's the one," what are you looking at through the portal?
Sure. So when looking through the portal, you see the sort of cross-focused, straight-on camera angle of a sidewalk, a busy sidewalk in sort of like a Bowerstone type of city. So people go hustling and bustling, large brick smoke towers, big factory buildings, gray skies, and towards the camera is walking quite a peculiar character, and that is a man that appears to be dressed up sort of like a mix between Dr. Freeze and Willy Wonka. It's a guy that is wearing a full white suit, white shoes, white dress pants, white vest, white shirt, white jacket, and white top hat, and is walking with a white cane, but it's all pretty tattered. It's all like there's like grease stains, and there's what appears to be charcoal, patches and dirt and scrapes, and some of the elbow is torn up on this end, and the shoulder is torn up on this end, and there's part of the top hat is bent at a weird angle on the rim, and there's some patches everywhere. But and his face is also kind of peculiar. He looks kind of like he's wearing late 1800s, early 1900s clown makeup, but it's faded, and it's not pronounced. It's not like the Joker. It's just sort of a whitish like palette.
Yeah.
With and the one weird and identifying thing that he has is what appears to be hearts on either cheek, but it's not clear if they're scrapes, if they're birthmarks, if they are makeup. You're not quite sure, but there's some slightly faded red hearts, one heart on either cheek, about the size of a coin. And the scene is him walking towards the camera, sort of twirling this cane as though he is literally the most powerful and important business person on the planet. He barely stands out among the rigmarole around him and people hustling and bustling to and fro. He in no way stands out as some remarkable specimen, because he kind of looks a little bit roughed down, but he just looks like the absolute most confident person you've ever met in your life. And I think through the portal you see him visibly stumble towards a person who was about to cross the street and was looking both ways.
Yeah.
And gives him sort of a, "Oi, steady on there, eh? Go on, go across the street there. What mind's your step?" And as he walks away, slides a pocket watch into his pocket.
And as this image is kind of playing out, and Slump is more and more realizing that this is the person, when you kind of take a step back, it's the only image in the portal. Now, that is the only, all other things have disappeared, and now all we see is this person. And you see everyone around him kind of slow down, and he looks a little bit confused for a moment, as he has not really slowed down. And Lou too kind of gestures at the portal and says, all right, Mr. Slump, go on through and see if you can convince him to come on through. I'll keep the portal open for a little while, and just if this is the one you think, then go on and talk to him.
If you're sure.
I mean, I trust your judgment, Slump.
Try. All right, Slump will give it a try.
All right.
Good luck to Slump.
Good luck, Mr. Slump. And you step through the portal and are face to face with this man who you've chosen. Will enter the red ink, will face Volos, and will most certainly die. And as you step through, the portal remains open behind you. You can literally look behind you back into the chamber, and everyone around you is very slowed down, except for the man standing in front of you. What would Slump say to this man?
Hey.
That's it.
How do you think, and so I actually meant to ask his name earlier. The name of this individual that you've chosen is
Rippy.
So how would Rippy react to walking down the street, just very, very successfully pickpocketed a pocket watch? The whole world slows down. A an extra dimensional portal opens up in front of his face. A giant mountain of a man steps through and says, "Hey, what would Rippy's response be?"
I think his response would be to stop completely in his spot, stare at exactly what was happening, and then immediately do a breath check to see if he's like absolutely plastered. Like he thinks this must be like he's been drinking turpentine accidentally or something like that. I think he would just stare directly back and go, "Hi there, bruv. How's it? What are you doing coming out the boy, you came out the middle of the street and talked to me, and everyone else is all I think you would just stare at him."
Yeah.
And
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think, do you have any sort of direction that you think this should take?
Yeah. So basically, at this point, I listen. As much as I would love to torture you guys and make you just have a full-on conversation between your two characters,
I'll fucking do it. If you make me, I will do it.
I think honestly, what do you think are the kinds of things Slump would say that would convince Rippy to do this? What are the arguments that Slump is capable of making that Rippy is willing to hear that would convince him to do this thing?
I think Slump would say,
Hey, Mr. Man, you're good with the...
and he just like swinging his hands back and forth, kind of like just weirdly in some indistinct pattern. And Rippy is just staring at him, swinging his hands around. Right. Not sure what you're doing, really. Kind of confusing. And Slump was like, the tricks with the hands, the fast, and there's something goes by. No idea what you're referring to, as a matter of fact.
Oh no, he doesn't speak Slump.
I am. No clue what the fuck this is. He's waving his hands back and forth.
You're good at the thing with the hands where you...
And someone who's like moving slowly by, Slump like takes their scarf off their head and just drops it. Right.
Okay, listen, here's the deal. Slump bets you,
And Slump pulls out his monocle.
this monocle, that you can't get the monocle out of Slump's pocket without Slump noticing, and then, if you win, you can keep it.
And Rippy just stares at him and says, and if I lose, you're gonna smash me head in?
No, pinky promise, no smashing your head in.
Right. Okay. No moving. And I think Rippy would start walking towards Slump and then trip and stumble into Slump with like the most basic bitch, not even attempting to, and just stumble into him, and Slump would immediately go,
Are you okay? You okay? Oh,
steady on there.
oh, sorry, Slump is a bit of a klutz.
Oh, hey, no worries. And Rippy would take a couple steps back, and then out of his hand would dangle the pocket watch, and Slump would just sort of stare at it and say, or sorry, not the pocket watch, the monocle. And Slump would just sort of stare at it and say,
all right, now give it back, asshole.
give it back, and Slump would say,
So you're pretty good at the... You're pretty good at Millusions?
Millusions?
Millusions, where you make something that isn't there.
You mean illusions?
That's what Slump said.
All right, well, yeah, I suppose I know a good trick when I see one.
Well, would you have expected to see what you just saw come out of the middle of the street?
What do you mean?
Me!
Oh, right. Suppose not. Suppose I wouldn't have predicted that, no.
And how did Slump do it?
How do what?
How does Slump do it?
What does that mean? How does Slump do it?
Oh, so Slump's name is Slump.
What the fuck is a slump?
Can
Slump.
Goldrick see this fucking portal at all?
No, you can't.
Slump. Slump's name is Slump. Right, say it again and again. Isn't going to fucking help, is it? It's like me trying to ask you to define the word slump and you're just using it by saying a slump is a slump. Who the fuck is a slump?
And you can see Slump is like crossing his eyes, trying to figure out how to identify the self. And then just Slump turns around and gestures broadly at the portal.
This. Did you expect to see this?
Ow! Fucking A! No, not a chance. No, definitely not.
Right. And you know if it was just a cheap trick, right?
Yeah, suppose so.
Well, do you think it's a trick?
And I think Rippy would like actually look puzzled and would say, now, reckon it's not, reckon it's real, some fucking how.
Okay, well, then you gotta believe Slump when he says, you are required for a mission to save the end of the world by venturing into a demonic realm to confront an all-powerful demon boss who's hell-bent on annihilating the entire universe with a team of Oberith intent on returning the universal state to that of nothingness.
I think Rippy would just sort of stare back and without changing his expression at all, would blink once really hard and go, you what?
Need you to venture into a demonic realm to defeat an evil one-eyed boss man who wants to work with his team of Oberiths to return the universe to a state of nothingness or some other equally horrible plan of intentional, eternal darkness and enslavement.
Shit. You reckon I'll be back in time for dinner?
No. In fact, you know what? We'll leave that part out for now.
What part's that?
Anyway, it doesn't matter. That part doesn't. Don't. Slump will make you a promise. You'll find out. Okay. You'll find. Don't you worry. Slump won't be able to keep that secret from you for very long.
And Slump's like making the sign of the cross as he turns around. What are you doing there? What are you doing with your hand there?
Nothing. Hey, well, you're ready to go?
Where's that?
All right, off we go.
And someone just sort of grab him by the jacket and push him through the portal.
That's so good. Will I be back in time for dinner? You know what? Let's leave that for later. Won't be able to keep it a secret for long. Oh my God.
You're not going to be back for any dinner ever again.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm upset that you started with Slump. How are we gonna follow that?
Oh God, yeah, no, I didn't realize I was setting you guys up to follow that.
No,
I've got
the rest can be narrative if you want.
I've got a set order that I was going to do this in.
Well, you fucked up. Let me
Yeah, I fucked up, guys. Jeez. Okay, yeah. And so you take Rippy and you go back through the portal, and sure enough, you're standing in the chamber. The portal closes behind you, and it's just you and Lutu and Rippy. And I think Lutu kind of has some very, very minor pleasantries saying, you know, we're busy, I gotta get through this. He kind of opens the door and he escorts you and Rippy out of the chamber. And he says, you know, there's lots of drinks. Feel free to have as many drinks as you need to be able to deal with what you just heard. And, you know, basically he tells Rippy to just ask Slump for any and all information that he needs. And basically,
Well, yeah, I know, but you realize I had my entire fucking life back through that portal, right? You can't just take me. Hello, is anyone listening to
I like him.
And so basically, you know, during the time that everybody else is doing their things, Slump and Rippy can exchange a ton of information. So Rippy doesn't have to come in completely blind to everything.
Sure.
He can have as much information as you'd like him to have while everyone else finds their people.
Sure.
Now listen, I just designed an order. There's no good order to go in. Okay, I fucked up with number 1, so all I can do is apologize and say that I have an order and I'm going to stick to it. And the next one is actually Locke. You are the person who will find their person next. So, Locke, after Slump and Rippy leave the room, Lutu kind of eyes you and kind of solemnly kind of waves you into the chamber.
I guess he would walk in.
Okay. You walk in and Lutu kind of has a priming coin ready, and then he turns and he says, Locke, is there something? There's something on your mind. I can tell.
Yeah.
Is it the fact that we're sending people in to die?
Yeah.
Well, I know it doesn't feel good,
It never feels good.
but I mean, I just don't see another way around it. It's just
Wait, we've been doing this for so long. I'm tired.
I am
I'm
too.
so tired.
I am too. It's been so long and it's been so many people. And for a long time there, I thought maybe it just wouldn't happen. I thought it'd be a fight that we just fight forever until we lose, and I think we have a chance here to actually succeed, to actually win, and look, I think it'll be better for everyone. I really have to believe that.
Honey, you don't have to prove anything to me, okay? Besides, I'm just gonna end up... We'll talk about it later. Yeah.
You sure?
Lou, you know I love you, and
Well, of course. I'd be a little bit offended if now was the time you chose to tell me that you didn't love me.
you know I would do anything to protect you, right?
I know. And I'd do the same for you. You know that.
I did something to protect you, to make sure Velos wouldn't do anything. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to share the same fate as whoever I choose.
Wait, what do you mean by that? What did you do?
You remember those... I shared the knowledge with you of what we discovered about fate in the blue ink, right?
I remember.
I used what was left of my luck, so to speak, to make sure that we could escape.
I don't think. No, we can do something about that. We can do something about that.
Lou,
I can do something about that.
Lou,
I've been around for long enough.
Lou, you listen to me. If we are successful, you don't have to do a damn thing. Okay? I want you to pour your energy into making sure this is a successful run. Because if we're successful, not only is the universe saved, but I'm saved. Okay?
We made it so far. Ooh. Look.
We haven't crossed the finish line yet, love. We haven't. You know that better than anyone. You are too important to lose. You know that.
You're more important.
You're such a bad liar. Don't worry. We got this. Those three out there, we got this. Okay? We've made it this far. And I'll be damned if we don't cross that finish line.
I think he just kind of like collapses onto you into a big hug, like just sobbing.
I think he would just wrap his arms around him and like kiss his forehead and just hold him tight. And while he's just crying, he's just like, let's just enjoy the time we have, okay? And who knows? If we pull this off, we'll just we'll have all of eternity, all right?
Aye, that we will.
All right.
That we will.
Now, be the man I know you are, and let's get this over with.
All right. Gold, you said, right?
Gold.
And he kind of sits up, takes a deep breath, and then gives you one of those kind of sly grins that he just, you know, he does whenever he thinks he's gonna do something kind of cool. And he flips a coin, and it seems to kind of suspend in the air as he kind of does just a very modest kind of little spin around as he catches the coin midair, presses his thumb against it, and pulls it down through the air. And a brilliant golden portal opens up.
I think Locke looks at him and gives him a kind of a grin, like, show off.
And again, he kind of places his hand on the surface of the portal and starts swiping around, kind of Google Maps style. And you've actually done this kind of thing before when you were searching for people to take up the mantle of the entire quest back in the day. And so you know to focus on the personality traits of the person that you know you have to look for. And why don't you tell me a little bit about the personality of the person on the other side who is going to be chosen for this?
I imagine them being somewhat bitter. And the reason for this is I feel that this person was successful at one point in their life, and now they're just in the gutter, just completely in the gutter. They have lost everything. And that has driven them to kind of be on the street and just being a survivalist, trying to do what he can. So I would say he's jaded, he's bitter.
Yeah.
Other than that, the only thing he's really had is his mind to kind of keep him safe.
Yeah.
His wits about him.
Yeah.
I almost imagine him like and actually this kind of, I really liked a book and I wanted to kind of fit this in, but it almost feels like he's like a failed alchemist or a failed wizard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's super applicable for the Golding. Like sorcery and alchemy are very big parts, almost in equal measure for the steam engines, for protection, for the weapons and stuff like that. So there's a lot of use for very talented alchemists and sorcerers. And so this one is kind of a failed one. And as you are thinking about this, the portal images kind of spiderweb until there's a number of different images, all kind of swiping and scanning at different speeds. And so I think as it starts to narrow down on the person, why don't you tell me what this person does for a living, if anything? It sounds like they might be literally just kind of destitute, but why don't you go into a little bit more detail of kind of what their daily life is kind of like?
I would say like his daily life is kind of like he doesn't live on Zephyron for sure. He lives on one of the other cities where they're often raiding other cities to get resources.
Yep.
Because of that, like it's like there's probably some other hierarchy in there, like a social hierarchy where like there's the people who are better off, and then like he's like right at the bottom.
Oh, gotcha.
And he's using, guile or the things that he can remember with his alchemy to kind of keep him around, make himself useful, make a little coin here and there. But I feel that the reason why he's kind of in the raids is that is this bitterness. He has an excuse to blow something up. He has an excuse to cut someone open.
Yeah.
So like he's just full of resentment, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you're kind of more and more visualizing and understanding this person that you're looking for, again, it kind of narrows down to 5 people there, and 1 fades, and there's 4, 1 fades, and there's 3. And now, why don't you describe the person that Locke sees, and like what is the image of this person? What is the physical appearance of this person that you look at and you say that's the one? What do they look like?
Like have you seen Firefly?
Oh yeah.
Do you know Spider, the guy that Malcolm talks to, the guy with like the bowler cap and like the cut off wool gloves with the kind of somewhat leather jacket, just kind of worn out?
Yeah,
like I imagine kind of like that attire, a little taller, not too much taller.
Yep.
Pretty ragged goatee, like he hasn't really had any type of real amenities in a while, like but I would say he looks incredibly tired, worn out, bags under his eyes. Like this man is probably in his 30s and he looks 60, that type of thing.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And like I think when Locke sees him, you see him just kind of like slyly pickpocketing or dropping a alchemic device here and there to put like a distraction while he does his thing.
Yep.
And like sleight of hand everything, but
yeah,
I'd say like he catches him in the act of that and he's like, that one.
Okay, so I think that's the scene that we see. The portal now only shows 1 person. It is this person. Their name is... What's their name?
Sebastian Volt. Because steampunk. So I figure Volt, why not?
Volt?
I fucking hate
Volt.
you. Just so we're clear.
Perfect. Okay. And so you come across this image of Sebastian using his alchemical tools to create a distraction so that he can do what he needs to do to survive. And as you've seen before, other times when you've introduced yourself to other people in other attempts to put together a party, time slows down around him, and Lou 2 says, all right, Vincent, go do your thing. I'm sure you can convince him.
All right.
And you step through the portal into the gold ink. And what does the area kind of around you look like? What is the setting here that you step into?
I almost feel like it's kind of like a Dishonored, like by the wharf
type
of area.
I like it.
So like, yeah.
Yeah. Like, are there like creatures that have been hauled up kind of thing?
Yeah, like this is like a floating island, and like there's not a lot of water here, I imagine.
Yeah.
So like it's like really grimy, contaminated water. Any animals are there, or like a game that has been there is something that has been taken from something, so it's kind of more like we're keeping account, like almost like a warehouse type of thing, where they're just kind of taking stock in what they got in the last raid.
Perfect. Got it. Okay. And so you step through the portal, you see this around you, and how does Sebastian kind of react to seeing time slow down and this portal open up and this strange man step through it? What's Sebastian's kind of reaction to this?
I think a little off-putting. It's not that he hasn't been exposed to magic, but it's more that what is someone like this doing here? Like,
sure,
as Vincent is pretty well kempt, pretty like pretty, I guess is the best way to put it. But like someone like that is here at the docks on the wharf. He's either looking for someone, or he, like he's looking for someone to do a job, or he's trouble.
Yeah.
So.
And you do not need to do the extended two-sided RP that we saw from Slump and Rippy. What would be the kinds of things that Locke would say to Sebastian? What would be the kinds of arguments that he would use to this unknown person to convince him to do this insane thing?
I think it would be more, he probably would point out, hey, that's an interesting technique there, like pointing out what he saw, like with the alchemy and the device he used, like, just like not give away the whole barn, but like, I know what you did and I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And I think from there it'd be more like the trying to have him understand that, like, he's, at least when it comes to alchemy, he's talking to a peer to some degree.
Sure.
Like, just to kind of get him comfortable.
Yeah.
And as comfortable as possible in this situation.
Yeah.
Anyway. But I think then he would point out, like, look, like, it looks like this has been pretty rough. Like, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, what if I could promise you a good meal and a warm place? The job that you'll have to do will be quite dangerous. In fact, he'd probably be upfront about it. He'd just be like, you are not going to come back. It's highly likely you will not come back.
Yeah.
But you might be able to live the good life, relatively, if you take this on.
Very interesting. I like that. And what would Sebastian's kind of response to this be? Like, does he take that up quickly? Is that enough of a selling point, or Like, what would Sebastian's response to this kind of line of reasoning be?
He would absolutely, like, immediately would be like, nope. Why should I believe anything that you're saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure, time has slowed down, and you came out of nowhere, and you seem to know a little bit of what I am capable of, but I think you can understand why I'm very hesitant to accept such a generous offer from someone who came out of nowhere. But I think as the conversation goes on, like, the idea of not going to bed in some damp back alley, the idea of having a warm meal, you know, just literally like simple comforts, appeals to him.
Yeah.
Not, you know, not like the idea of going back to not the life he had, but something adjacent would be appealing.
That makes
no
a
more
lot of
raids.
sense.
Yeah, no more raids, no more backstabbing, or at least backstabbing that he needs to do to survive. So I think slowly he entertains the idea.
Perfect. And eventually, I can only assume Locke is able to convince Sebastian of the merit of this mission. And does Sebastian kind of go willingly through the portal, kind of a little bit aware of what's about to happen?
I think it's more like to kind of convince him. Vincent gives him a shot of his flask. Like, it's the real stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not lying. This is some good stuff.
Yeah.
And he takes a sip, and it's probably the best damn whiskey he's had in a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, it feels warm. It tastes good. Maybe he's not full of crap.
Yeah.
I mean, if I don't like how this smells, I can always go back. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know that he can't. But
Got
I think,
it.
he never asked Vincent either. So, I'd say warily he goes through the portal.
Okay. Yeah. And you know, warily, tentatively, he steps through the portal. He is very briefly introduced to Lu 2, who you know, kind of opens the door to the chamber and lets you guys out into the bar itself, and kind of says, you know, you guys can further discuss, have as many drinks as you need to get over this information. And he says, you know, Sebastian, Locke here can answer as many questions as you have. And then he looks over to you, Goldrick, and waves you into the into the chamber.
What? What do you want? I'm eating.
I
It can wait. It can wait. It can wait.
What, the food can wait, or?
No, not the food. The food's yummy.
All right, but you can get food later. All right, and this is kind of important for right now.
Whatever.
Would you
fine.
Is it too much to ask that maybe?
No, I guess I can save the world now. It's fine. Whatever.
All right, I wouldn't want to interrupt your dinner if maybe saving the world was.
It's a really good dinner. So.
Well, it's the only world we got.
I'll tell you what.
What?
It's a toss up. I don't know which one I'd pick. A really good dinner or the end of the world.
All right, Goldrick.
I like food.
Goldrick, could you get your ass in here, please?
Yes, sir. Okay, sorry about that. I respond so well to authority. Yes, sir.
And you enter into the chamber, and again, it's kind of the same thing.
I start taking off my clothes.
No, Goldrick, no, that's not totally not necessary.
Yeah.
Nope.
What?
You don't need to. You can leave your clothes on.
Oh, okay.
That's not what. Why did you think you need to take your clothes off?
What are we doing in here?
We're gonna find the person who's gonna.
Oh, that's why I didn't want. Okay.
Did you think?
No.
Did you think we were gonna?
No.
Well, I'm flattered.
I saw Locke.
I
Look pretty angry.
All right. Now you know what? I'm kind of taking offense now.
Why?
Because, listen, you don't know the first thing about me and Locke, all right?
Okay.
And the fact that you think,
So your relationship's perfectly fine right now?
listen, it's complicated,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I can't help but suspect you might have played a hand in that.
What do you? Excuse me. We are here to find somebody to save the world, and you're going to bring up trivial things? Come on, let's get this done. The things are bigger than us.
All right. Well, a minute ago, it was
No.
a toss-up about whether it was as big as your dinner or not. All right.
Can we just move it along?
All right. White ink.
Yes.
You're sure about that?
No.
All right. Let's go over the lists and all the pros and cons of all the inks all over again a couple times to make sure.
I'm not going to do that. I need a really good lawyer.